hurry, spaces for Connect are going super fast. Click the Connect icon in your PioneerRx pharmacy software so that you don't miss the premier pharmacy event of this summer. Your business depends on it. Click, pack, grab your boots. I'll see you in Nashville.
We are on a mission to save and revitalize independent pharmacy.
On the Catalyst Pharmacy Podcast, you'll get actionable business advice.
Hear stories from industry leaders.
And share a laugh or two with us.
Fuel your passion for pharmacy.
One conversation at a time.
4,
3,
2,
1. Ignition.
Welcome to the Catalyst Pharmacy Podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Key, president of PioneerRx, and today I'm here with my co-host, Marsha.
Hi, I'm Marsha Bivins, Director of Marketing for PioneerRx. Our guest today is Phil Cowley, TikTok sensation Phil's My Pharmacist, with over 815,000 followers and 4.2 million likes from his post. I'm kind of fangirling here. So, Phil, welcome.
So glad to meet you. Glad we finally got this together. Been looking forward to it. We were more prepared yesterday. Marsha was watching TikToks and
okay. So for me, I'm kind of fangirling right now because it was like a lazy Sunday morning. I got up and I was like, I'm just gonna TikTok. I'm not gonna go to the gym quite right now. And I'm sitting there and I come across one of yours and I'm like, pharmacist. Okay, wow, really cool. And then I look at your following and I'm like, wow, he's really blowing up. And I'm like, wait a minute, what pharmacy is he with? Is he one of ours? And I'm like, oh, he's one of ours and he's really cool. We have to have him. I want him on and so I'm like texting Madison on a Sunday morning. I was like, we need him on the podcast. And so I was getting a little more familiar with some of your other episodes. And I guess a really good, and I'm going to throw it out there for everybody, kind of a success story for one of your TikToks is my husband and my son both got COVID in the January spread or spike. And Mark was having the hardest time breathing. And he was starting to complain that, oh, my chest is starting to feel tight. My back is starting to feel tight. And I was like, wait. He did a COVID TikTok. And so I went back and I got the Nasacort, I got the inhaler, I got everything. And it's like, once I gave him that inhaler, an hour later, he's like, I feel different. I can actually breathe. And I mean, I had them lined up with everything that other doctors and other pharmacists had recommended, but the inhaler was the lifesaver for Mark.
Well, the funny thing about that is I can't take a lot of credit for that. Using racemic epinephrine for viral pneumonia, that's like been forever. That's what they use for kids for croup. That's what they use everything else. It was just a matter of taking information that anybody could get on the internet.
Yeah.
And putting it in a consumable way. See, the problem you have is people can't consume the information in order to understand what they do. So I just had to take what was out there for 100 years and put it consumable for people.
Yep. I just feel like he should be leaning across the counter.
You got to make it, it's a brand thing. Like, this is part of the whole deal.
Yep.
You've got to have a place you sit. You got to have how you sit it. You got to lean. That's part of the whole deal. It's a brand. I'm sure you have your brand too. Like you're like, nope, this has to be right here or it's not right.
Yeah, you've done a great job of that.
Well, thank you so much. I'm really glad to be here. And again, sorry it took so much to get here.
Oh yeah, we certainly understand.
No, we completely understand
the world today. So
yes.
Well, I'm just like all everybody else that's listening. I had to be at work yesterday. There wasn't a lot of choice. Like most of our lives anymore, you just have to be there because you can't find labor and you have to work twice as hard. So
yep.
Yeah, it's crazy to see how the labor market, I was talking to somebody just the other day, and it wasn't a year ago, we were looking at pharmacist pay going down and, you know, our VP of clinical strategy, even in the last couple of years, talking about how, you know, pharmacists are getting paid less. Can you believe what they're getting paid? CVS is offering this for pharmacists and stuff like that. And now all of a sudden we blink and there's a shortage. You know, what happened? You know, they all just decide to do something else. But I think they came out of that discussion saying, hey, you know, a lot of them moved into other non-traditional roles. And there's been this realization across the world that pharmacists are valuable. Like, oh, wow. And I'm going to put one in my doctor's practice. I'm going to put one in my this. I'm going to put one in here. And so I think they're filtering out of more of a retail environment.
Or they took a step back like you did years ago and went, I want to make the practice better. And they went back into teaching. And they left practicing and they just said, I'm going to teach the next generation of pharmacists and make them better.
Labor is always based off of value too. And so I think what happened is they didn't realize what a lot of places didn't realize. They thought, well, let's cut a pharmacist out, then we can save some money. And then the value from whatever they were doing was removed. And then they couldn't get them back because people had moved on. And I think that's part of it as well.
Right.
Yep. Well, tell us a little bit of the story of Phil. So how did Phil get into pharmacy?
The short version, because it's not that long. I actually was trying to figure out which medical field I wanted to go into because I didn't like a lot of the other subjects that I was doing, and chemistry came easy. And I was looking at either pharmacy or becoming a doctor. And I had two doctors' wives say, check with your wife before you become an ER doctor. It's a miserable life on the same day. Right. So that one day scared me away from it. Just those two women, they said,
that was the turning point.
Yeah, you better check with her. So I went into pharmacy. It's been 20 years now that I'll be open this year. And we went into pharmacy, and the last day I took my last test that I took, I drove 2 hours up north and I signed a lease on the building to start my own pharmacy. So I jumped right into the game.
Nice.
Which is the way I do things. I kind of jump in. I'm not very good at waiting. I just either jump in or walk away. So we ran the store for 19 years up here, and then 2020 came and we were inside of a hospital, and the doctors quit seeing patients except for telehealth. So you can imagine what happened to the business. We went down and down and down, and we held on. And I thought, well, how long can this last? That's all I kept thinking is how long can this last?
Right.
And some of my colleagues, they were killing it because they had drive-up windows and they had this, that, and the other, and they were really, really going, and mine was just diving. So then last year in January, we saw another trend that showed us that we kept on decreasing in revenue. So come June, I looked at it, and the first 2 quarters of the year, we'd lost money. And I said, well, I can't keep doing what I'm doing. This isn't going to work. And I had a friend who asked me to be in a video for fitness stuff. And he said, you're the demographic I need. And I said, so you need an old guy that still can move. Is that what you're talking about? So I went and shot this video for him. And when I was there, I met somebody that was helping small businesses start in social media. I'm like, hey, I think I could do this. And that's the real shortened version of how we got started into social media. That was our first post on Instagram was July 1st of last year.
Okay.
And our first post on TikTok was on October 16th. So
in 2021.
Yeah, I'm talking brand new with all of this stuff.
Great.
And that's crazy that you've jumped up to the amount of followers and like over 4.2 million likes. That's nuts. And
it was way crazy. And you should see how many messages and comments and how much it's, adjusted my lifestyle a little bit with it. We're not making a lot of money with it yet, but that has to do with the fact I'm 46 and I don't make rash decisions on finances anymore.
Right.
The offers have come. I like being older doing it because I don't feel people ask if it makes things different, and it really doesn't, because I just do it for fun. And come on, I'm 46. How far am I? A 46-year-old pharmacist, how far am I really going to go is what I keep telling myself. So
yeah. But your pharmacy is still in the doctor's office?
Yeah, it's still it's in with the clinics. We went from being 12% down to 17% up from July to December.
Nice. Okay, so things turning back around.
Yeah, we're doing much better now. Now the problem is that we went from, we've got staffing issues, and then now we're anybody who owns a pharmacy knows that growth can be just as hard on you as when it shrinks, because you've got to figure out how, and everything's so tight now. You have to manage every bit of it, or you can be busier and lose money.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah, I think Marsha and I are going to be your direction
in 2 weeks.
Roughly. In Salt Lake City. So we're thinking about
maybe
we might swing by and
yeah, we'd love to come by
pharmacy.
and visit you and see what all you're doing in your pharmacy and answer any questions that we can. We love to do pharmacy visits and look at what people are doing and how they're doing it and answer questions and go, wait, why are we making you do this? That's an extra button. So it helps us. It gives us a little insight into programming adjustments.
I think it's great. And it's also, you could come in and show me, say, okay, why are you doing that too? Not only why, you know,
Yep.
I've had that happen before. So
yeah, I like it. I like people coming in and visit. I'd love to see you.
So one of the things, I think it's super creative marketing, and your TikToks are patient focused, which is great.
the piece I love is that you don't see that at a lot of pharmacists, is that they don't know how to reach out to their community, and you're still behind the counter and you're reaching patients. And I love that.
Do you think that's had an effect on your pharmacy business though? Do you think you've had some patients come in because they saw you on TikTok?
Oh, every day.
Every day. Okay. So that's part of that 17%.
Oh, almost all of it comes from that. Like every day we'll have 3 to 5 people call up and say, hey, I saw your piece on sleep and I can see that you care about your patients.
Huh.
And so I want to transfer my medications. I had one transfer from an hour away.
Wow.
And she said, I've been watching your
phenomenal.
TikToks. I like how you're doing it. And the best part about this is normally when we build business, it has to do with contracts or going out. And this one has to do with patients. So the patients already have a connection with the pharmacist. So you start out with that rather than have to build that over 6 months or 8 months. And then they change jobs and their insurance cover and they leave. These are people who came and they searched me out. And then it has me the opportunity to actually do what I'm doing. And it's based off of who I am as an individual. And that's a key that people aren't getting. I can't fight with the prices with some of these places. And I can't give some of the services that maybe they can do, but nobody can be Phil, just like nobody can be whatever other pharmacist that's out there. You have
I
be
feel like
yourself.
your approach kind of goes back to Gittimer's little red book of sales. People don't like to be sold, but they love to buy from people they trust. And social media is a huge trust builder.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's the key is you got to go out there and whatever you are, if you can be you, then you'll find people who like you. I think people always say, oh, TikTok is, or I hate it when people say, they're like, TikTok is, or Instagram is. And I always look at them, shake my head. Instagram and TikTok isn't anything. You just go be you and the people will find you. And then even if you had 700 followers, those 700 will come miles away to see you.
Yep. Well, and I love that you had a couple other posts, the Valentine's, not all of them are patient focused or advice. They are also, you have fun. You show you don't take yourself too seriously. And the Valentine's post, I loved it. The love letter to my wife. So y'all been married 25 years. And
25 years.
And she,
Congratulations.
And I thought that was just beautifully said that, the pandemic, it did cost a lot of relationships. And we saw that in a lot of like stars. It's like, whoa, we never thought this couple would ever break
up. And livers. Don't forget livers.
Yes. And it's costed us our livers.
Well, that's part of it too. When you set up stuff to do, if you want people to like you, you have to be willing to show yourself a little bit. And that leap of saying, look, I'm a pharmacist. I never sleep. Yeah. Like I get sitting up in the middle of the night. I never sleep. You would think that might be like going to a barber with a bad haircut. But really what it was is people came in and even when you told them, hey, your Ambien's not going to do the job. They know what you're talking about.
Right.
You're like, yeah. And so if you're going to get on there, if you're genuinely yourself, there are 100,000 people that'll accept you and 4 that'll decide that they want to make fun of you. It's not as scary that way as you'd think it would be.
Yeah. So how'd you and your wife meet?
So I came up here to Logan to go to school, and I had somebody wanted me to tutor him in chemistry. And I really hated tutoring people because it took them a lot longer. Teaching versus understanding are 2 different things.
Right.
So I would be done with one subject, on to 3, past it, and he'd want me to come back. So to get away from that tutoring job, I took a job delivering pizza. So I said I didn't have any time. And so the first day I walked through the door to go deliver pizza, there was a schedule. There was a swinging door, and there was a schedule right behind it. I walked through the door, and my wife was standing right there with 2 other coworkers. And then she flipped around right when I walked through the door, and that's right when I met her, all because I didn't want to tutor somebody in organic chemistry. I walked through that door, and then we worked together for a while. And then she's been patient enough with me to get me through school, and 19 years of trying to run your own store, which is like having a second wife for sure. So
yeah. So
we have 4 boys.
4 boys. Yeah, so this is nasty. How many kids? Holy smoke. So
4 boys.
What are the boys? How old are they? What are they up to?
I've got my oldest boy is 20, and he's just got into an adaptive program, which is a program for kids that have some developmental delays inside of USU.
Okay.
And then I've got a 16-year-old, and he's in high school right now. I've got a 14-year-old just getting ready to go into high school. And then my youngest is 12, and Finn is going to be moving into junior high next year. So they're just kind of plugging along.
So what would be any marketing advice for other independent pharmacists?
You'll find your crew. You go out there and be you. I don't care how boring or how unexciting. If you go be you on there, people will attach to you, and then they're your patients. You don't have to fight for them forever because they find you. It doesn't matter what you do, how much you do it. If you go out there and make fun of yourself because you have to mow your lawn exactly the same and you do it at high speed in your smock, there's going to be some guy out there that thinks that OCD
that's me.
Lawnmower pharmacist,
that's my spirit animal.
Is me. Yep. I am going to go watch him. Or so a lot of people think you want to go out there and be exciting. I do a lot of rock climbing, a lot of canyoneering, all this stuff, but I don't like to showcase any of it because that doesn't say anything to anybody. You got to go out there and find out, like the whole Monster and Mylanta thing. I mean, I drink a Monster every morning and it gives me heartburn every morning, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you find something that's just interesting, that's just you, whatever it is. Even if you're following smaller, they'll follow you just because you are who you are. So don't let anybody tell you to do things, and then your customers will find you. They're so funny too. Oh, they get so excited when they find out you're weird like they are. Oh, they love it when you're weird like they are.
Yeah, we almost did we said, hey, we should do a mean tweet too. So we should take some of the haters and have you read them on here and respond to them. Like I was thinking there's one lady who called you a grifter. She's
yes.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember that?
Just recently.
Yeah, just recently. That was the most recent one. And like I looked through hers and I was like, you're just kind of crazy.
Well, they do hate likes. And so that's the other thing I would tell people is, if you've noticed on mine, I've tried to keep everything upbeat. Anytime I answer anybody, I try to say, okay, you have a right to your opinion.
Right.
You don't like that I said this. I'm glad that you're wise. I'm glad that you found things. I'm glad that you looked.
Yep.
And what I find is the more that you put out good on the platform, the more good that comes back to you.
Yep.
If you go negative, good luck. Your whole group is going to be wanting to complain, and it's going to be a negative platform, and then you'll never want to open it.
Yeah, and that's the,
that's the, if you're when you're throwing dirt, you're losing ground.
Yeah, I found an interesting, there was a Bugs Bunny once where, or Looney Tunes, and they showed pictures, and they were walking their dogs, and the owner looked like the dog. Right. They managed to. And we'll go into some businesses where all the staff's like the owner. The owner's negative, the staff's negative. And it's funny how things flock together. And there are people who love a negative, mean podcast, TikTok kind, and they follow that. But you got a bunch of negative, mean followers.
Right. It trickles down, and it trickles down in your day.
Yeah, and that's the kind of people you attract. And you might have a big following, but you're right. By being positive and responding positive, that's the people you're going to attract. And I think that's the people in your business that you want to.
And if you're weird, you're going to attract the weirdos. But
and then you're comfortable when the weirdos come in.
Yeah.
Like, it's great.
It's your
you're
people.
Surrounded by your own people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I also think it's interesting because you bring this up. The way in pharmacy, we've been like a bunch of crabs in a pot for years now. We kind of dig at each other, in particularly the independents. We're always stealing from each other. We're always fighting with each other, but we do it all over. If we could somehow quit picking at each other in the pharmacy world, can you imagine being able to go in and say, hey, we need a $4 dispensing fee nationally mandated so we get more money than a cup of coffee when we fill your digoxin?
Right.
I mean, that we need. And so that's the other thing I've really tried to do is I would love to support any pharmacist anywhere. I want to get in a place where I can go out and say, okay, let me come out and show you this little teeny piece on how to market. I'll come out with my 800,000 viewers and I'll show you what I do and see if I can help you, and go to Louisiana, go to Maine, go all over the place and start showing people that pharmacists' value can be so much more. Yeah. The number of people who have no clue what a pharmacist does in social media was astounding.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Are you planning on coming to our show, The Connect in Nashville?
If I can make it, I've got 2 other speaking engagements. I'm trying to get it to where I'd rather go to independent just in different pharmacies, but I want to do the shows too. But I want to actually go see people's stores, because we all float on these little islands and we or worried about telling anybody anything. And I would love to get out there and say, okay, we don't have to do that. Look how cool you are compared to your neighbor 4 miles down. Let's just look at both of you.
So that is absolutely what Connect is all about, is connecting you with entrepreneurial minded pharmacists like yourself. And there's so many interesting conversations and connections that are just made there that are like, how are you doing this? Oh yeah, and I'm doing it. Well, how are you managing this? And how are you navigating these waters? And there's just a lot of those conversations that happen at Connect. And so that's what it's about.
The people who use our software are, people who go to our show say it's the biggest collection of entrepreneurial pharmacists in the country. And I think it would be a good promotion of your brand and what you're trying to do. And maybe we could figure out a way to feature some segment or do some piece there that might be fun.
Yeah. I'm working on.
Sounds like I need to come.
I think it would be good for what you're trying to do, for sure.
Yeah.
And build some relationships. There's a lot of strong relationships there of people who we consider pharmacy leaders who help each other. And you have a neat little niche. I mean, you've done what an amazing story in such a short time.
Yeah.
And you say you do speaking engagements.
I just got invited to a few, so I haven't even done one yet, but I've got 3 of them lined up. So we'll see how that goes.
Where is that going to be?
I'm at Idea Share, and I'm at DiversityRx, and then there's one other that I have as well. So yeah, it's fun though. I mean, it's a fun little area that I'm in just because I took to it like a fish to water. And so now when somebody calls up and says, "Hey, can you look at my stuff?" I'll look at it and I'll say, "Yeah, but like you got to change this, and I already know you like this thing. So take this idea, twist it, and add that to it." And it's been so much fun, the creative side of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's fun for me. And then all of a sudden you're like, now make sure you show other people, because I think is overall, if we could become more available, everybody does better in pharmacy.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's a harder hitting question for you. So I mean, you're obviously in social media, you're only targeting a specific age demographic. What about the other age demographics? How are you reaching out to them?
The funny thing about the social media is I thought it would be very much millennial based, the millennials that I was reaching out to.
Yeah.
On Instagram, I think I have more grandmothers than I do their granddaughters.
Mm-hmm.
Like they share each other. I thought it would be limited, but I have more that are over the age of 60 than I do that are under the age of 20 that are following. So, and TikTok has the average age on TikTok has gone up by 7 years in the last year, meaning that the user is now 7 years older than they used to be. So we parents are chasing them off their platforms. So what we do, right? They start out with Facebook. We came on and then they left. So then we followed them Instagram, and now they left. Yep. Now they're at TikTok and we're chasing them to TikTok. So we tried radio ads. I honestly didn't find a lot of success that way. For 18 and a half years, I didn't pay any money for advertising. I just did me as good as I could. And so I actually have gone out from reaching other groups and come back into social media because I can do a post for free.
Yep.
And I will have 200,000 people see it by the end of the day. Even if they're not local.
Does anybody listen to radio anymore? I mean, everybody's on like either Apple Podcasts or Rhapsody or Spotify or
podcasts. That's why I was excited about doing this. Podcasts are huge if you can do good podcasts.
Yeah. So you say 3 to 5 people a day. Do you do any kind of measure of their demographic? So those 3 to 5 customers you're adding a day that say they saw you on the podcast, what's their demographic?
What you get a lot of kids that are taking care of their parents are the ones that I'm getting the most of. So I'm getting a lot of the prescriptions for the ones that are the older age group, but they're coming in because the kids that are taking care of them are done trying to manage all that elsewhere.
Yeah.
So they'll come in and say, take care of my mom and dad's meds.
I could definitely see that.
No, that's something I didn't think about. This whole more of a caregiver generation.
Oh yeah. I could definitely see that. Cause I mean, like I try and line my grandmother out with, and she's for some reason, 83, 85 years old, she's doing it right. Not on any medication, but she does take like daily supplements, but she's not on any medication. But I try to line her out with, hey, there are some pharmacies that could probably put this in a pouch for you. And then you just tear off your daily pouch.
Yep.
And then the same with my mom, and she's on a lot. And I'm like, let's find a pharmacy that's doing like the Parata or Art Safe, the packaging, and just put all your stuff in and then make it easier. Cause she carries around like a gallon Ziploc bag.
Oh,
Right.
But I mean, it's also like other supplements that she gets from what my dad calls her voodoo doctor.
There's a lot of those around. The witch doctors is what we call them around here.
so what's next? What are you doing? So you're doing some speaking stuff. What's next as far, you've been really successful on the TikToks and you're doing about, what's the frequency? Do you have a March?
TikTok's a beast. You have to post daily on TikTok. It's a beast. You have to TikTok to stay anywhere. And the algorithm just changed. And so every time the algorithm changes, it takes me about 2-3 weeks to really get a feel of how it changes. They look for certain things in the posts.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But you can figure it out by what hits and what doesn't.
Interesting.
Instagram's been a little bit more very, very consistent. And to be honest, the Instagram crowd is where I get more interaction. I probably spend an hour a day just messaging back and forth. Right now, I think I have over 4,000 messages I haven't got to on Instagram.
Wow.
Well, and Instagram just added the algorithm kind of similar to Google where you can start doing keyword targeting.
And you get a lot of that. So then when somebody does come in, they'll say, I just spent an hour and a half watching every one of your posts.
Oh, wow.
So I actually have a infomercial that was been offered to me to go do an infomercial just recently. So they had me send in an audition tape for the infomercial. I like being a pharmacist. So my hope is that I can augment my income from this enough that I can hire and pay my employees better so I can do what I want to do for another 20 years the way I want to do it instead of working. I think I've had 4 days off since July, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that can understand that. Like, it's just the margins are so tight. I would like to find a way to increase the type of product that I want to sell with the margin that I want to by using social media to bring people aware that we can do supplements, that we can do things that I don't, you sell a furosemide and you get 98 cents. You're never going to be able to keep your doors open on that. But if I can have them come and say, wait, Phil was talking about a supplement, and they can come in and I can sell the supplement the way that GNC is. Well, now I can choose the audience that's coming in.
Right.
And now I'm marketing to an audience I wasn't marketing before. And all I had to do was just hold it up for a second while I had slime flowing down, and then I sell 17 bottles the next day.
How do you feel about probiotics?
It's still, I think that probiotics have a place in therapy for sure.
Yeah.
Like they really do. And the range and price make people confused because you can get the acidophilus for $3 and then there's some of them that are $200. And I like the idea that you can go out there and say, probiotics, what are you treating it for? And then when somebody comes in and says, hey, you were talking about slow gastric emptying and you talked about one that had enzymes and probiotics. Now all of a sudden they're looking for the product that I had because they saw it instead of wandering around a health food store.
Right.
So that's, you're talking my language there because I'll get their amoxicillin and make 37 cents. But while they're in there, they're like, I saw you do this one and I can sell them at a lower price than the health food store, something that works just as good and make $8 off of that. So now I don't lose money by putting a label on their amoxicillin.
Yeah. And that's, we added a feature in Pioneer that prompts the point of sale clerk if you turn it on and says, hey, they're an antibiotic, you should recommend a probiotic. And some of the pharmacists I've talked to say, yeah, it's a good idea. I feel like they're worried I'm a grifter, right? That I'm upselling them. How do you, what would your answer, the pharmacist that told you that, I think they should get an antibiotic. When they get an antibiotic, they should get a probiotic. But I feel like my patient feels like I'm upselling. What would your advice be? Well,
you don't want to sell it to them. You want to ask them how they feel about it.
Okay.
So that's the bigger deal. Say, hey, you're getting an antibiotic. What do you think about probiotics? And you leave it. And people who want probiotics are going to ask that next question to you. It's not a matter of going around the corner and saying, well, here's my new product. Right. You don't need to do that. Yeah. What you got to do is you just look at them and say, okay, look, this is the third antibiotic your kid's been on. How do you feel about probiotics? And that gives you an access to educate.
Yep.
Then if you sell or don't sell, you educated them and they know, wait, there's a pharmacist who will take 2 minutes to talk to me about what I think. So even if you don't sell them the probiotic, they're like, wait, he'll talk to me.
Yep.
And that's a huge thing right now. People don't have access to anybody to talk to. So I like the cues as long as you use them right.
Yeah. And there's a lot of trust in your profession where I'm like, other patients will come in and they'll say, hey, I'm taking this should I be taking other things with it? Or it makes me feel this way. What should I do for the counter? You know, there's a lot of trust in your profession.
But there's got to be this coaching. You know, you have a pharmacist who knows something and believes it's the right thing for a patient, and a patient who needs it.
Right.
But they're afraid to tell the patient that they need this thing because so much in the world is the upsell, right? Would you like to supersize those fries, right? Would you like that kind of thing? And figuring out how do I help them? I mean, even I saw a study like 2 days ago that they think that colon cancer, that younger and younger people are getting colon cancer, and that's a big, probably gut health is the problem there. And that, you know, young people are taking a lot more antibiotics than they used to be, and your gut health is getting out of whack, and you're having, you know, we had an employee who passed away from colon cancer at like 40 or
42.
Yeah, 42. Nobody would have got screened at that young.
No, it's all about how you approach your patients. So if you're going down there with the goal to try to make $70 off them, you're going to come across as a grifter. If you're going down there to learn more about them and you're using the cue to say, how's your gut? Because people want to talk about poop and infections, but they don't want to say it to a real person. So like when I do a post on it, they now all of a sudden, wait, this dude will talk about poop. So then they're coming in and they're like, hey, can I ask you about this? So in the same way, every pharmacist can use the cue for the probiotic as an excuse to go down and find out about their patients. You don't have to sell them anything.
Yep.
But every chance you get to go in and say, how's your stomach with all of this? Now, all of a sudden, you're not a guy selling. You're a guy who cares, because pharmacists do care. That's the reason why they don't want to sell them things. So I like the cues. I don't think I would ever go down there with a bottle saying, here's what you need. Yeah. But I think I would go down there really easy and say, how's your stomach? Or how overall are you processing? Are you doing all right? And then as soon as you're asking them how they're doing, people, if they know you care, they'll pay $5 more to come back to you or walk up the stairs.
You know, this pharmacist was like, you know, I think what we need is is some kind of brochure or some kind of plaque, you know, something they can hand them and show them. I'm like, that's passive. That's exactly you know.
It's passive, and nobody
I
reads
feel
that
uncomfortable
stuff.
talking. Well, be uncomfortable. You know what you're saying? Be yourself. Be uncomfortable. You know, you could say, hey, I'm not super comfortable talking to people, but how are you doing with this? I think you might, we recommend a probiotic when you take an antibiotic.
And you do the same thing with your blood pressure. You do all of them. But so the cues with the probiotics, the cues with those things are a good reason to remind us we didn't come in here to put pills into a bottle. We came in here to talk to patients. And that's the biggest thing I like about those cues is if you're just putting pills in a bottle and going home, you're going to be unfulfilled. You got to go down there and say, how are you to people? And that's a great cue to do.
Unfulfilled. No pun intended.
Yeah, the name my parents had me set up from the beginning. So
the biggest thing that we've been talking to other pharmacists about is, and this has been the biggest belief, is that if you want to grow your business, you need to get out from behind the bench. And you've totally debunked that because you're behind the bench and you're bringing in new patients via social media and by being your weird, beautiful self. And they trust you, and so they want you to be their health coach. What other things are you doing in your pharmacy to grow your business?
Well, right now we're kind of hanging on, but we're like everybody else. We do the compounding because you have to be different.
Yeah.
And when I do our compounding, there were already, 3 or 4 people doing the hormone compounding. So we kind of found a different niche with our compounding. We do a lot more of the ENT stuff. Just because you got better at that. So we take care of that component. We do the specialty packaging and the delivery like everybody has to. We do both of those things.
Yep.
But if you really want to get out from behind the bench, you've got to be able to have relationships. So I'm in a town with 80,000 people, and I can't get through the supermarket that has its own pharmacy without somebody stopping to talk to me. Because at some point we started a conversation. So if you want to grow your business, you have to become integral to the community that you're in. And then when you're integral like that, if they have a vested interest as you as an individual, then you have to be brave enough to say, hey, our business is not doing where we want to be. Is there anything I can do better? And it's amazing the response you get when you ask people, what should I do better? And then it grows. Like I can go up to somebody and they're like, hey, I'd love to come to you, but my mom, and they'll tell me the story. I'm like, well, how can I do that better? Next thing you know, they're bringing 3 people in for you just because you took interest in their lives.
Not only did he get out from behind the counter, he did it virtually. So he did really get out from behind the counter. He just did it in the virtual world. How many hours a day do you spend on that?
With the questions, maybe an hour, some days less. Yesterday, I shot 3 posts and took half hour total. I just have to do the editing on them. But most of the editing you can do yourself. They're pretty easy. Mm-hmm. So yesterday, less than an hour. Sunday, I spent 2 hours. Saturday, I took about 15 minutes. I can actually shoot posts fast.
And where do you get your ideas? Where do you get your inspiration?
I've always been a weirdo. Like there's nothing, it's always been a weirdo.
So you don't think, oh, tomorrow I'm going to run out of ideas.
You don't, because you walk through the door and there's so much.
Well, some of his, besides the fact that you have a lot of content just in your pharmacy alone, but some of them he's answering patient questions.
Oh, yeah.
And so he'll have the little bubble up top that go, this is the patient question. And he'll respond, great question. And he'll start going, so here's the things that I would do. That's
true. If you get a lot of followers and people are asking you questions, a lot of material and just responding to their question, they're like, oh, Phil responded in a TikTok to me.
Yep. Yeah, and they do that a lot. Like they'll send you stuff they want you to do, but then it's also important for them to know who you are. So some of the posts are easy. Like you just lean on the counter and say, hey, I had a bad day today. Mm-hmm. And people respond to that. So you got to become real to them. And so you split it up. And so it's not, I like the creative part of it. So I don't see running out of ideas, because right now I don't care if people listen or they don't. Like my favorite posts, nobody watched. Like some of my favorites, they don't.
So what is your favorite post?
There's one with a little kid up the street where it's we're in Goblin Valley, and I talk about motion sickness. And I just pick up this kid and I spin him around, and then we talk. And then while we're both super dizzy and like tipping around trying to do, I tell him the difference between Dramamine and Meclizine, and he's like falling over, and I'm picking him up, and it's really fun for me. But nobody else really liked it.
Nobody else.
But that's part of creating too, and that's all of. You think, oh, this one didn't hit. I'm so nervous, and now I don't even care if it hits or doesn't hit, because I know the 4 people who wanted to hear it are going to come in.
Right.
So you have to like the creating. So you have to find something you like doing. If you like knitting, I swear there's an audience just to watch you knit. They will watch you knit for hours. I would suggest maybe not doing the gym stuff just because there's 7,000 people doing the gym one. Yep. But even if you do, you can there's still an audience there. So, so it's just funny. It's just be who you are, and then you don't run out of ideas. You just have to be you that day.
So one of my favorite TikToks, it was hitting around the finals right before winter. I may have said this to you, but sometimes the interestings of these TikToks and the social media is the comments. That's like the best part. And this one was a teacher that was about to hand out the final. And so he told his class, okay, if a professional sports team replies to this post, then I'll wheel out the TV, then we won't have the final and everyone gets 100. And like every professional sport, like NFL, every NFL team was responding. The Olympics were responding. And some of them, their comments were just so epic, like roll that TV out, teacher, like start writing 100s and just all that. And like one sport was like, does this counts as a sport? It was like the cheerleader team. It was one of the cheerleading teams for the football team. And it was just so.
Was that a marketing class? What was he trying to make a point with?
No,
it was just trying to go viral.
No, you saw it too. It was like a junior.
My wife showed it to me.
Yeah, it was like he was like a junior high or high school teacher, and he goes, if just any professional team, and the Olympics responded, it was awesome.
What are your so what's your wife think about the whole TikTok thing?
She can't watch them. She doesn't like the mean people. The trolls get at her.
Oh.
So she'll watch it and then she'll delete it. And then she watches it and then she deletes it. And then she'll come in and she says, your TikTok's driving me crazy. It makes me so nervous. And then it's just back and forth. And she keeps showing me this TikTok of a wife who's been posting, doing really well. And her husband came on and she said, hey, have you ever watched any of my TikToks? And he said, no. And then she said, well, why haven't you watched them? He goes, because everybody's mean out there. And so my wife's kind of the same way. She's like super mama bear when people say mean things. Mm-hmm. And then I have to turn to her. I'm like, yeah, there's maybe 100,000 people that said mean things. There's 4.2 million who said nice things. And so it's kind of one of those things. So I I only show them to her after I'm finished. I don't like it's already been posted before she even sees it.
Okay, I think the more important is how do your kids feel
I was about to
it?
think that. What about the boys?
That's my 16-year-old's the only one that, like, I have to pass some of them past my 16-year-old because he'll come home and tell me that he's had too many girls telling him that his dad's hot. And he doesn't want to hear that anymore. So I have to run him past my Eli before I can put him out there. But the boys knew the situation. Like, your kids know what's going on at work. And they knew that we were in a situation, so they understand. And, as a family, we came together and said, hey, this is who we want to be. I have to start doing things different. And they have been really supportive because they understand the importance of the pharmacy to the community and understanding what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. My kids are actually super sweet. I'm glad I didn't get any like me, because my kids are really supportive and nice, and they want me to be successful. So they don't give me any ideas, and if I didn't do any more about things getting enlarged, he would be happy. So,
do they post on TikTok?
No, my kids aren't really big on it. But we made T-shirts with a brand logo, and yesterday somebody had got our T-shirt and was wearing it in the class with my son, and he didn't know that they were out and about. So now they're starting to see a T-shirt with my face on it in their classroom. So I'm not so sure they're happy about that.
I love it.
I need a T-shirt.
We'll send you a T-shirt. It's funny. Because you have to make the brand presence. It's all brand presence.
Yes, it absolutely is. Yep, I have to get a T-shirt, and then we have to get you to connect, and I'm going to wear that T-shirt.
I'm excited.
So
we should do
around.
something. I think that's a win-win. We should definitely do something.
Well, I'd be glad to come. I've got a friend in Knoxville. I've never been to Tennessee, so I will need to come. That's where it's at, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nashville is a happening, growing place.
It's in Nashville.
Yeah,
I need to come to Tennessee. I like people. And Nashville seems like it's full of good people, and I need to meet with more pharmacists. So because I want to see all of us succeed. So I think they get, I got no agenda. I just want to see pharmacists. There's plenty of room for all of us. We did quit picking at each other and come together. And I would love to see everybody on social media come out and do their own thing, and then in their communities.
Yep.
I mean, it would be great to push that forward rather than saying
so many ideas. We'll do a Facebook Live with you there. I'm here with Phil's my pharmacist. I got my Phil's my pharmacist shirt.
One of my technicians made a chapstick. He made his own blend of chapsticks and put my face on it. He wants me to start selling those too. So it's been funny, but the thing is all these silly little things, they create a brand presence in the 10 miles around your pharmacy. Mm-hmm. And so I love it because people come in and they make fun of me. That's their first thing to do, is make fun of me. But they're coming in to make fun of you because they have some level of connection with you.
So Google search has a local element to it, right? If you create a Google ad that's at local, you're going to get more local people. Does TikTok or Instagram have that? Is they going to prioritize, and you're going to see TikToks that are more local to you?
Instagram does for sure. I don't know about TikTok.
What about TikTok?
No, not so much with TikTok, but TikTok's funny because I have somebody that lives like right there, like they're just right there, who found me because their sister in Missouri called them and said, I think this guy's close to you.
Right.
And she didn't even know I was on TikTok or anything else. And so social media, you'll find a circle and they'll spread it amongst themselves. It'll get back to you. I had somebody on the Big Island contact somebody in Salt Lake who knew somebody up here. Because they found me. So that's how they found me. So
and that's the way Facebook started, is I found this funny thing, I'm going to share it with you, and then you're going to share it with him, and then it's like, oh wait, that person's next to you. And I feel like TikTok has really just blown that up because just the sharing across and the information and the funnies and all that stuff. But TikTok has really taken what Facebook started and has just blown that up to another.
Now, he said he has a lot of success with Instagram, the Reels as well.
Yes.
Is that just duplicate content? You're doing exactly what you do on TikTok as an Instagram Reel, or is it different?
Some of them are the same and some are different. Instagram right now likes a little more refined look. TikTok, the best thing you can do is show up on TikTok with a mustard stain and a little crumb in your beard and just talk. Like, they like the real gritty you.
Yeah.
So it's but that could change because you're getting, whereas Instagram, you go on Instagram and everybody's so pretty on there. I get on there and you can see I got stains on my smock and I got powder because I wear a black one. So, and Instagram, I always get a little more self-conscious, but Instagram has more of the individuals who are the demographic that make decisions. TikTok comes to Instagram sometimes for that purpose. So they're a little different, and you'll find your format is different for each person that you're looking after what you're doing. Some people need that long format that you get on YouTube because people like the YouTube and they'll find their audience there. Each one of them is different.
They each have
but
their
they're
own
not
limitations.
Hard.
Yeah.
They're not nearly as hard as you think they are to do. With your phone, I could show anybody how to do one that would be successful for their own business in 10 minutes. They're not hard. It's then finding the guts to go out there and bare your soul to it and continue to embarrass yourself. That's where you have to.
So that's what we should do, right? To connect, we should choose somebody from the audience and say, we're going to show you how to do this right here. We're going to record a TikTok right now.
Right.
And we're going to come up with an idea, and you're going to record a TikTok, and boom.
It's easy. I mean, my brain's always running with ideas. It's funny. I've got a running list, and it's now probably got 400 ideas, and I forget, and I'll put them on twice because I forgot I already put one on earlier and things like that. So I did one yesterday with a raw egg and a monster, but talking about how motility can be just as important as acid reflux. And the idea to shoot was 22 minutes and done.
Huh. What is so I saw recently TikTok's moved to they're going to go to allow 10-minute videos, which I think is too long. You're definitely losing me in the 10-minute time frame. Well, do you have a target for length?
Right now, 16 seconds is the catch one. If you want to hit an FYP page, you got to be 15, 16 seconds. But if you're talking to your group, anything between 1.5 minutes and 3 minutes, they'll listen to it as long as the information is good. You have to be on your game. But then once you get a following, they'll listen. I don't know. I have one that's on my Instagram that's like 5 minutes long that has 22,000 views, which just shocks me anybody would listen to me that long.
Wow.
Huh.
You have to remove the barriers for each individual. So instead of saying, okay, do a TikTok like this, you've got to bring somebody in and say, what are you comfortable doing?
Yep.
And there's an audience for what you do. You don't have to be something for TikTok. You just got to find you and then talk to the camera. Yeah, it's all about finding ways to balance your life in a way that makes you happy. And that's what I hope some of this brings, is a chance for me to have. I want to teach my kids how to run the cameras, and then I can, they have to come. And so I have to spend time with them because life just moves too fast for me right now.
Yep. Well, so there's one podcast that I'm listening to, and it's just a TV show that I used to watch years ago, and now they've brought the actresses together to do this podcast. But anyways, they're bringing in some of the other castmates individually. And the one that I thought would definitely apply to this, long story long. So this one character, his kid is wanting to do social media and do YouTube. And he's like, well, what's the goal? What do you want to do? And so now him and his son do these, well, I mean, really it's his son doing it, and he's just kind of in the background helping. But his son, who loves to geek out on history, is now taking it to, he gets to learn more about history and he gets to talk about it, and he has a YouTube channel. And so I just listened to that this morning, and so I was going to look for his YouTube channel. But it's a great opportunity to bring your kids in and teach them about, the big new scary world that is new and scary to us, and we're figuring it out and wrapping our brains around it, is the social media, which these kids play around with all day. And I think that's an amazing opportunity, is, do you want to do your own? And what do you want to talk about?
Yeah. So let's pull out some mystery. So the show is One Tree Hill.
Yes. And the podcast is Drama Queens.
The podcast is Drama Queens.
Can you imagine, though, a pharmacist out there whose kid wants to be doing social media, and they do it to where you get to see that pharmacist child's personality going into the pharmacy and doing it for that. You would start watching that child because of the personality that's there, and they could become the brand for that pharmacy that you're in. So when you're talking about this stuff, this is exactly what people want to see. They want to say, okay, look, he's got a kid, and this kid is super cute, and I love this kid's personality. They'll come in to see the pharmacist just for this. This is exactly what social media does.
If the kid was 100%. Asking dad about poop, this would be we have arrived, right?
Absolutely. Or they start talking about a menstrual cycle with a child. Can you imagine their face if you brought up to a 12-year-old trying to talk about menstrual cycles and what you need to do, and that kid's face is twisting and the audience is loving the whole thing. That's, you don't even have to sell them anything. They just now want to be part of what you're doing.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what we do to Mark, is Mackie and I'll be having a conversation, and he's like, what are y'all talking about? She's like, our monthly cycle, leave us alone. And he's like, okay, I'm out.
He's like, yeah, I'm rolling.
Yeah.
I'm rolling on.
See, you do that kind of stuff and they come in and they see the fun. We started playing pranks on each other in the pharmacy, and we started trying to tape those, just fun things. People like being connected now, and this is a good way to do it.
Oh, that'd be a fun April Fool's post.
Yeah.
Is pranks in your pharmacy.
Well, there's a mouse trap that gets hidden around, and lots of fingers have been snapped by it.
Oh no. I'm looking forward to seeing that one. Thank you so much for joining us today. I can't wait to actually meet you in person in a couple of weeks when we're up in Utah.
It'll be fun. There's a couple other, that it'd be fun. It'd be fun to show you, talk about some of the other people in town too, because the other independents in town, and they're great guys too. So I love talking. You have a couple others that use you up here too.
Nice.
So they're good guys. So
thank you and congratulations on your success.
Well, thank you so much.
Just super cool what you're doing, and super cool your desire to spread it to others. And we look forward to following you. Maybe we'll do a follow-up here in about a year and see how that's progressed, and have you connect and just kind of hopefully we'll get to enjoy just a little bit of the thrill of this journey with you.
I really am glad you had me on here. This is great.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
It's awesome meeting you, and thanks again.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching the Catalyst Pharmacy Podcast.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please like, subscribe, and follow us wherever you get your podcast.
Give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts to help us reach more pharmacy professionals like you.